All right, I think we might be live. We already have 5 people in here.
5 people in.
Nice.
Let's get this party going.
Let's go. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. We are super excited and thankful that you have joined.
Great.
We are grateful that you have joined the very first wall printer webinar. So this is kind of like a nice pivotal moment for us. First of all, my name is Steven Nimberg. I handle all the social media and marketing here at the Wall Printer. I graduated from UNC Wilmington about a year ago, May of 2020, and a major in Spanish, entrepreneurship. So this job was perfect for us. We're selling printers all throughout the Western Hemisphere. We handle languages like Portuguese, Spanish, French, English, of course.
Integrating that software into this technology to bring it to this side of the world. I'm Brian Johnson. I'm the National Account Executive, and I'm really glad to be here as well.
You guys have probably gotten a couple emails from this guy. He's been blasting out emails, phone calls, so I drug him out of his hole. Excited that I got him here, and you guys finally get to have a face to the emails and phone calls you have had. Brian is the man to go to get your information about wall printing.
Yeah. If I haven't spoken to you yet, I really look forward to it. Basically, the gist of today, it almost feels more like a podcast, but what we're going to do is run down the business opportunity and what wall printing is. For those of you who just kind of wanted to get familiar with a friendly face, we do live here in Wilmington, where we're headquartered, beautiful beach town in North Carolina. Paul Barron also lives here. He's the founder, CEO of Wall Printing USA, which is the supplier of this technology, these machines, the support, everything like that. I too went to UNC Wilmington, graduated with a business degree. I've worked in customer service for almost 20 years and sales for about a decade as well. So really excited about the opportunity to talk about this for you. And we'll have a little Q&A towards the end. That we can try and knock out any questions that were to come up, and then also we've included some handouts.
You probably saw handouts with some tech specs, order forms, stuff like that. Like Brian said, we do have questions and a chat function. We actually have Erin from our tech support team. She's handling all the tech support side of this. So at the end, like Brian mentioned with the Q&A, feel free to send in your questions, chat, engage. We're excited.
So the quick rundown of the wall printer, the brand, the trademark, is that Paul Barron, our owner and founder, found this technology through being introduced to it by a competitor, German competitor. Didn't work out a deal with them, and it was probably for the best because we found a superior product that's manufactured, and we have a partner in manufacturing that supplies us with a really fantastic machine that we co-own some patents with as well. But this machine is not new technology. This is actually invented by our company or by our manufacturer partner back in 2011, research and development engineering for a few years. And since 2013 or 14, they've sold over 700 machines to provide beautiful wall art and as far as your mind can really take you for vertical printing in the last 7 or 8 years.
That's predominantly in Asia, Russia, right. Europe. And then Paul Barron, he brought it over here to the West.
Right. The challenge that presents itself with this and for all the other manufacturers, they're on the other side of the world. And what Paul envisioned and what he's done for most of his professional life is introduce foreign products into the domestic market and be able to support them effectively. The biggest challenge with something like this being manufactured 12 hours away is that you don't have any kind of support. And that's what we provide. Not only do we provide the sales, we do the marketing for the business opportunity, which we're going to talk about, but also the technical support is a huge part of this. It is a machine, it is a business to be run, and that's what we bring to the table along with the best quality product and some differentiators that really set us apart from anybody else that would make a machine like this. There are literally less than 5 in the world that actually make a machine that has these capabilities. Ours has been around the longest and has the best capabilities, hands down. So just to talk briefly about the business opportunities, that's what you're here for. You want to know what's in it for you, right?
What are our options? Yeah. So I like everything that Brian has introed, very good stuff, but as a viewer, what options do I have, business model wise?
Yeah, you didn't log in to just hear us gab about, what we've been doing for the last year. So we have a couple different business opportunities. Of course, you can buy a printer. buy a printer. If you already have an existing business where you see some synergies, you want to work with your own customers. Let's say you're a painter and you just want to provide this as an additional service to what you already do. You're more than welcome to do that, and we will sell and support your machine. Then we have the opportunity for exclusive territories, and that's what most, I'd say 95% of what we've done so far in the last 6 to 8 months of sales has been. Now, what that means for you is you can buy an exclusive territory in your region, whether it be by zip code or county or state, or even, you can take an entire region if you want to. Our largest distributor to date is the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. MSA, which is a little over 8 million people. And they're about to launch here shortly. But what that means is that you can define a territory and own that territory competition free. I can no longer sell printers in that area. What that gives you a couple more benefits is that you can have first right of refusal to expand that territory as you grow. We give you spillover leads from our advertising efforts. Stephen does a fantastic job with advertising for the business opportunity. But of course, inherently, when you're going to advertise a business opportunity of a new technology that nobody's ever seen, you're going to get some people that are, hey, I'd really like to have this done in my house. I get pictures.
Innovative.
I get pictures almost every day of something that somebody wants printed on a wall. If you are the closest in proximity, exclusive territory owner, or it is in your territory, we send you that. One big difference, and Stephen probably really likes this more than anybody, is the fact that we're not a franchise. We do have some similarities to a franchise, but we took the good stuff about franchising and got rid of the bad stuff. We don't dip into your pockets for revenues of any leads that we send you or any kind of prints that you do. Our exclusive territory fee is a one-time fee. It's extremely reasonable considering we understand that this is a new technology. This is something that we are building a brand along with those early adopters who want to get into a business and earn a living for a nice living for themselves with their own business, something they can call their own. We do not dictate what you charge your customers for wall printing. We also do not, we don't take the revenues. We don't dictate, but we also, as not being a franchise, it's important to kind of realize that we're not going to provide you all the templates and everything that you have to rigorously go by.
Right. Like Brian mentioned, we're taking the good parts of franchising, keeping them, taking out the bad part. We don't dip into your pockets. Your business is your business. As you can see behind Brian and I, that's a bunch of logos of a bunch of our customers that we have.
Shouts out to all of you.
Yep.
Love you all.
We got people like Beyonc, Print the Wall, just a few examples of what you can do.
So
right?
You can create your own brand with this business. We will print your brand, your logo on the front of your printer cabinet. We will advertise on our website for your business. We do give you materials for marketing when you own an exclusive territory, such as videos, images, and the great thing about it is, since it's such a new technology and a new business opportunity, those distributors and or exclusive territory owners are all kind of working together and providing the stuff that they've done by way of digital videos and things like that that everybody can use and share for their own marketing.
We're constantly doing prints here. As I said earlier, I'm the social media and marketing manager. So anything I film, anything I edit, you guys have free range with it, whether it's for your website, your social media, Facebook advertising. We are here to help you. So as I'm here grinding away, getting these videos in, you guys are also getting some videos out of that too. So we have good marketing support as well, of course, as our technical support for the printers as well.
So another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is the pricing of how we sell our machines. Okay, so the printers have two different pricing models. You have the wall printer cost, which is essentially just purchasing a printer, any accessories that you want to add it to your business. Or let's say that you're great example for this is we actually sold one of these printers to the Chicago Public School System and STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math. They were going to use that to basically educate their students and allow their students to have free will of printing all over the campus. They didn't need a territory because they're going to use it for educational purposes. We have found that the more desirable business opportunity here is to take over a territory, grow that territory with our support, and become successful with very, very limited to no competition. Your real competition if you want to consider that, since there are some differences between wall printing and, let's say, a vinyl sticker, let's say a muralist or an artist, there are some differences, but that would be what you would consider competition. So getting into that, the pricing on the printers, we do offer for an exclusive territory owner, regardless of what size territory that you start with. The minimum is going to be 250,000 population for $10,000 one-time fee. What you get for that is an immediate $5,000 off the price of your printer. So we're giving you 50% discount on the territory to get you started and to get you defined in an area.
So is that $5,000 decrease on the first printer when you purchase the territory?
Yeah.
Or is it on all subsequent printers and all
Great
models?
question. So it's actually on both. What we do obligate you to, and when I say obligation, just like a franchise, you purchase a Chick-fil-A, let's say, in Wilmington, North Carolina. Well, that franchisor is going to say, you can start with this one store, but I do expect you to expand to these neighboring areas within X amount of years. We do a similar process, but what we do is an additional printer sale. We give you ample amount of time to grow your business and not only test the market, but build your market, build your awareness, and then you buy another printer. And that's kind of where our printer models come in, and where we also differentiate ourselves from the competitors is that you have a growth pattern and a growth model with our printer model. We have UV printers, which we recommend to start with, and we have water-based ink printers that are good for indoors only, but speedy as can be. The UV machines can print indoors and outdoors. Yeah. So there's different ways to go about growing your business. But in the exclusive territory model, we do ask you, if you want to maintain exclusivity, you do want to grow this business, and you want it to be yours and yours alone, that you purchase additional printers to grow and have enough coverage for your market.
So yeah, that makes sense. The discount makes sense.
Yeah. And just think, Stephen, on a small territory of 250,000 population, which isn't small by any means.
Yeah, 250,000.
In reference to any kind of franchise or business model, think about how many walls and businesses and restaurants and schools and hotels are in a 250,000 population.
Yep.
After 2 printers, you've made your territory fee back. So I really love that part of the way that we've done that.
You can actually recover those territory fees.
We want you to get the money back, and we don't want to take any money out of your pockets for the work you're doing. We want to see success.
So I actually saw a question pop up from Alan, and this is
hey Alan.
Yeah, hey Alan, thank you for submitting a question. We just broadcasted that on the screen. So if you buy a wall printer outright, is that the MSRP column price?
Alan, that is an excellent question. I'm happy to answer that in an email. I'm going to do that for you. The MSRP is really reserved for our financing people. We do have a financing option through a third party. We do not sell printers at that price.
Wall printer pricing.
Just to be specifically vague, we do not sell at that price. You either have the wall printer cost or you have the distributor cost.
Correct. So we have just pulled up our order form. So
yeah, this is great stuff here.
If you just purchase a printer, you would be at the wall printer cost, correct?
Yes. If you just wanted to purchase a printer, you would go wall printer cost and then any accessories that you would want to purchase as well.
Correct.
Okay, that doesn't include shipping. Matter of fact, we have a little bonus for you at the end of this, anybody that's tuned in.
Yep.
But that does not include shipping. What it does include, that you'll notice if you see any other competitors or you do some research, which I hope you do your homework on the fact that we are the dominant and really the only viable source for wall printing as a business opportunity. You'll notice that there are some lesser expensive, and I don't want to say cheaper, but lesser expensive printers available on sites like Alibaba, and that you can buy direct from the manufacturer. One thing that you definitely should know is that you cannot buy these machines directly from the manufacturer without going through us, simply because the machine you get from the manufacturer, not only will they not sell it to you if you live in the States or Canada or South America, but also it's not the same machine. We do things to these machines. We put our voodoo on it so that you not only have English-speaking software or Spanish or Canadian like Steve was talking about.
Brian, great points. I love it. It arises a question for me about parts, accessories, stuff like this. One of our audience members, if they were to purchase a printer, do they have to get ink from, is it going to take a while to ship?
That's the other challenge that was introducing a new technology and something that's a viable business is, how do I get my parts? How do I get my inks? What happens if something goes wrong, right? Well, that's what Paul's done, and that's what we've done over the last year and a half, is we've introduced a supply chain that is domesticated. We have all the parts and accessories that you need on hand, ready to ship next day.
Yep.
We actually have begun manufacturing the inks right here in the United States, and that's actually been going on 8 months now. I'd say just now, but we've actually been doing that for the last eight months now. And it's important because you're running a business, you have a machine that you're trying to operate, and something goes wrong. We understand that you need a replacement part. You can't wait for 3 weeks for it to ship across overseas from China or India or wherever.
This is a business, and the printers need to be built.
Very important.
To work day in and day out.
Yeah, and that's another differentiator. That's part of our value. But really, the technical support is another big thing, and we have a fantastic technical support team. They decades of not only printing but also IT experience. We do offer free technical support with any printer purchase, regardless of if you have a territory or not. That's based on an email system for now, but it's very useful because within hours you have a remedy to any kind of issue. Or even if you have a question while you're doing a print and you're not familiar with printing on a certain substrate, then you can reach out to us and we can not only test it, but we can go through and walk you through it as well. So.
Additionally, part of my position here at the Wall Printer, I'm constantly creating video documentation, video tutorials, and instructions on how to do more advanced skills and techniques with your printer. So we do have tutorial material that I'm constantly creating so that we can supply that to you guys, and you guys can just keep bettering your prints and getting great work out there.
Yeah, I saw a great question from Anthony. Appreciate that, and that's a great question. Yep. So you do have copyright questions that come up. The first thing that I would recommend is that you protect yourself on your invoice that you provide a customer. There's a disclaimer that states, hey, the customer has provided me the image. The good thing about this service is that you are printing an image. You're not printing for resale, as long as, unless you've created the image or you have copyright issues and you want to print on canvas or metal or anything like that and resell it. If you have rights to do so, go for it. If you don't have rights to do so, or if you need rights to do so, you can always put that on your customer as their responsibility. But what was the other thing I was going to mention about that? Shutterstock. So we actually have a subscription to Shutterstock, which is a high-resolution 4K image library, royalty-free.
Vector images, any image you download off Shutterstock, it kind of takes the guesswork out of printing. You know that you're going to pop that image into your printer, and it's going to expand well and hold its quality without getting any major pixelation. Because obviously you need a high-res, a high DPI image to be able to print, a 60-square-foot mural, so or larger even. So Shutterstock, as Brian mentioned, is a great option that we use to locate our images and have that licensing.
Also, something to think about when you're running your own business is to have those resources, small resources that are useful. If your customer doesn't know what kind of image they want, or they don't have an image that can be blown up to that size, you can certainly have that in your back pocket as a library or a manual, an evidence manual of images that they can choose from. That's just one thing. We've learned a lot over the course of the last 12 to 14 months of using these printers and also those who have begun to use these printers of what are the things that are going to be useful when I'm at a customer site. What's going to be, what's going to really make this customer experience great. And those are things that we're constantly learning and evolving with. We take input from our current exclusive territory and printer owners, but we also send out that information and constantly update our files and our manuals and our videos, instructional or otherwise, to assist with growing this business and making sure that we have all the answers when we have them.
So let's save some questions for the Q&A. We want to make sure we fulfill that part.
For sure.
And I don't know about you guys, I want to see some printing. We've talked about the business models. We know what our options are. I'm excited to see some printing. We actually got some printing going on in the back room. So
while he does that, what I'm just going to talk about really briefly is the different models. We just showed the order form, but essentially what you're looking at right now is one of our UV track printers. Okay, our track printers, you can see down towards the bottom, that sits on these long metal tracks, and it runs across those tracks. Those printers are our largest in our model lineup. And the UV machines, regardless of whether you look at a track machine or a wheel-based machine, which also has available tracks for leveling, that you lay down and put the wheel machine on top of, Both of the UV machines are the most capable and versatile machines that we offer.
Okay.
What that means is, first and foremost, they offer white ink. Okay, we have patents that allow us to be completely separate from any other manufacturer of this, and it mostly pertaining to white ink printing. We can lay down a white ink background on a transparent image. A transparent image is an image that doesn't have defined lines like a square or a rectangle, but you just want to print an actual defined image like these logos behind me. If you just wanted, if it wasn't a white wall and you wanted to lay white behind the image, you can do that. Okay, it's part of the editing that you do in the image before you upload it to the machine.
And that's useful because if you didn't have that white on the background, those colors would be impacted, right? By the color of the wall. If it's a black or a dark blue wall, you're for example, one of these lighter prints, you're going to see that color through the wall. So with our patent to print white, it lays white behind the color. So it's basically like priming the wall white.
Right.
So
yeah, that's another thing. That's another part of what we haven't mentioned yet is we do offer free training. The training session, we block off an entire day for you. If you choose to travel here to Wilmington, North Carolina, we welcome you either prior to purchasing or purchasing. If you come prior, we'll do some demonstrations. It's not a full-on training because we don't want you to forget everything you learned before you got your printer. But when you do come for your actual printer training, if you decide to purchase and take on this endeavor, we do some graphic design training as well as setup, breakdown, how to maintain the printers, different printing on different substrates. All of that is included, and it doesn't cost you anything except your accommodations to get here. And we also offer virtual training. Virtual training has been very successful, especially in the COVID times. Hope everybody's safe and well and healthy. But it's important to offer that as well. And we do on the technical support side as well. Virtual technical support has been integrated from time to time as well to help you through whether it's replacing a part or going through a different printing substrate or anything like that. So those are all very, very useful for this business as well. This is a really cool print. I like this one. It really demonstrates all the vibrant colors. One thing I do want to speak on, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm passionate about this stuff. So one thing I do want to speak on is this is a UV printer printing. And all of our printers print at a max of 1440 DPI. I think I saw that question.
There was a question about
earlier.
2880. Yep.
Yeah, so 1440 DPI is the highest resolution that we offer, but it's more than double any other manufacturer, including the German's machine of 600 maximum DPI. 1440 is near photo quality. We're not going to say this is going to be photo quality, of course, because you're printing directly to a substrate. This is not a $125,000, $150,000 flat bed printer. I always have trouble saying that. But it's near photo quality with up to 1440 DPI. Really excited about the quality. And the difference that you'll find between the UV printer, other than the fact that it can print on any substrate, glass, tile, metal, indoors, outdoors. You don't sacrifice anything with the UV printer except for speed because of the fact that it goes through a UV lamp curing process as it prints, so it has to take the time. Literally, these prints that are done are almost dry to the touch immediately. Okay, so this is the only way that it's stable. This is a plastic wall behind me, by the way, so it's almost dry immediately. It allows it to adhere almost instantaneously to the surface. The water-based machines print up to a 1440 DPI as well. But if there's any painters out there that are watching or anybody that's familiar with painting the walls in your house, the difference that you're going to see in the quality of the print is literally the sheen or the vibrance of the colors as they pop. The UV machine looks more like a semi-gloss or a satin. I think actually satin is above eggshell. But anyways, the water-based machine looks more like a flat-based paint. So it's really useful for speed printing. We have multi-head printers in the water-based configuration only, but what those can do is actually print upwards of 300-400 square feet per hour. So if you've contracted a job and you now have a UV machine and a printer that's water-based, you can take that water-based machine and do convention center walls that are going to be changed often, or even your kids' bedroom walls where they're going to grow out of whatever they wanted printed a year later.
Yeah, that's cool. That Brian brings up a bunch of great points. So just so that it's clear, that water-based printer you're talking about right now, that's going to be for indoor use only.
That's correct. Yeah.
And then the UV printer is going to be for outdoor or indoor because it is UV protected ink. It's going to have that more eggshell gloss.
Right, and an even better way to put it, Stephen, is that UV machine can print on indoors and outdoors, but it can print on porous and non-porous surfaces.
Yep.
And when I say porous, you think about a latex paint. That is a porous material. Drywall, brick, concrete, all that's indoors can be printed on with a water-based machine, okay, because it has something to absorb into.
Got
The
it.
UV machine doesn't need anything to absorb into because it cures immediately, okay? So then we also talk about printing on substrates that are non-porous, like glass, tile, metal. Outdoors, you may require some sort of protective coating. Indoors, with the climate being pretty much room temperature, you shouldn't have much issue there at all.
Cool. Aaron, do you mind sharing the video, the compilation? There's a compilation video I'd like to show you guys real quick. And this is a cool print that our Northern Ireland printer did.
We do own the territory of
Northern
North and
Ireland.
South America, the UK, and Australia currently.
So this video is sped up. This
is one of our UV wheel machines,
The
and he has purchased the track system, which has leveling legs similar to a table in a restaurant, where you can adjust for uneven surfaces, ground surfaces. This is printing on glass in a reverse mirrored technique, an advanced technique that Stephen goes over with you in your training.
Yep.
This is one of our water-based machines. You can see how vibrant the image is, but also it's printing indoors, so it has more of a flat base.
This is what we talked about earlier with printing on a dark surface, like this dark blue. And so if you guys could see in that video, it was quick, but we actually laid white first and then printed the image over that white. So the color came second. That way, that dark blue wall, it's not impacting the color of the image.
Yeah.
So
what else do we want to talk about? Could you also bring up just a really quick image of both of the printer styles?
We have two UV machines.
Correct.
What are the differences in between those two UV machines?
There it is.
Please just
enlighten
us.
Yeah, on the left-hand side, you have the SLUV. This is our most popular starting model. You don't compromise anything by way of resolution or capability by printing indoors and outdoors. The biggest reason that it's popular is portable.
Okay.
Portability is huge in something like this. This is a technology and a service that you're providing that you're going to be going to the site. Typically these vinyl sticker applications and whatnot in the print industry, you're actually printing and then taking the product to the site to install. You're actually installing on site, which is really cool. It gives you the capability of printing on surfaces such as brick and concrete that vinyl stickers can't. But anyways, the difference between these two machines, on the left you have the SLUV wheel. You can see the wheels down at the bottom. The front two are motor driven and it drives it along as it prints. The back two are free rolling, so you can actually lean it over and consider a hand truck. That's how it can be transported around. And then you have the machine on the right, which is our WP UV. You can see it's on the heavier duty tracks. It is a larger cabinet and overall structure. What that does for you, two different things, is that gives you a little bit more stability and footprint, and it enables you to have a larger vertical rail extension. So your maximum vertical rail extension can go up to 3.5 meters, whereas the smaller machine still, it's a sustainable 3.2 meters, very good. But when it comes to stability and doing these larger outdoor print jobs when you don't have a ceiling or anything in the way, that's going to be a great machine to grow into if you start with a wheel machine and you want to move up to a UV track printer. Or you can look at starting with the track printer if you're going to, if you're confident enough in that.
Larger prints.
It's a heavier machine as well.
So basically with the SLUV, could I operate that with one person?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas the UV track, you may need two people to transport it to move it. It's heavier.
Let me explain this really quickly, and that's important. Is the UV wheel machine is about 110 pounds. Okay. Formidable 110 pounds, but 110 pounds. The vertical rail that comes with it from the factory, and just so you know, we do have these rails set up to where they can fold at a hinge on the UV wheel machine. It folds to a hinge to just under 5 feet tall. Okay. But what that means for you is you can load it into the back of an SUV, a truck, a minivan, anything like that. This is a good example of the fold rod there.
Yep.
But what that does for you, I wouldn't recommend unless you're really strong and just really ambitious. I would say 2 people to load the machine into and out of, load and unload. Once the machine is set up on the tracks or otherwise, it doesn't have to have the tracks, but once it's loaded up onto the tracks and you begin your print, it really only takes one person to watch the print and make sure nothing goes wrong. And when I say nothing goes wrong, nobody comes through and bumps the machine or anything like that. These printers do have the capability of pausing and restarting. Obviously, most recommendations are that you start a print, you finish a print. But in the event that you do need to start and resume, it's not like your typical desktop printer where you get a paper jam or something like that and you have to start all over. Some questions that we do have from customers, or what happens if something does happen with the print. One thing we haven't spoken to is the ink costs and how much money can be made in this business because of the margins. Printing with a UV ink machine, 25 cents per square foot. You know, what we're finding so far.
So ink is cheap, but
inexpensive.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, we'll say less expensive because our ink is extremely high quality ink. But that's the great part about wall printing is the profit margins are high.
Right.
So Brian, it is 25 cents for the cost of one of our resellers of wall printing services. How much are they actually charging for the services? Do we decide that?
So again, I was about to say is that we're not a franchise. We're not going to tell you what to charge. We can provide suggestions, and what we've done so far is provide suggestions simply based on those competitive people like vinyl stickers and printers. Vinyl sticker application is typically anywhere from $12 to $15 a square foot. This should be minimally charged $15 a square foot, but of course your market's going to dictate that. We have printers currently that are getting a good bit more than that, depending on the job.
Depends on the market too, where you're located.
I would say that would be a low starting point.
Okay, 15. Yeah, that's high profit margin. That's
Think
great.
about it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. I like that. So capabilities. Going back to when you were talking about the capabilities, something that I personally love about these printers, probably my favorite feature. Brian, tell us about what if I have a wall that's slightly unlevel or has
like a brick wall,
a brick wall, cinder block. Sure. How I just don't understand. How is the printer going to lay the same amount of ink through it? The wall's changing.
So we're very transparent here. This is not intended to replace wallpaper or to cover floor to ceiling, wall to wall. It's just that you can see the size of this printer. You may not be able to see it behind me, but the size of the printer gives you limitations as to how far over, up, down, left, right you can go. But essentially, question was, but
unlevel walls.
Unlevel walls.
Yep.
So that's the cool thing about this printer, and what makes it possible is we have an X, Y, and Z axis on these printers. Our X axis moves the machine left and right. You have your Y axis of your vertical rail, which is where your print head travels up and down and sprays the ink through passes of whatever image height-wise. And then there's the Z axis. Okay.
Z axis.
The Z axis is the print head and the two sensors on top and bottom. Okay. There's two sensors on top and bottom that allow the print head to maneuver in and out for proximity to the wall. So in the event that it detects a slight imperfection, I'm not saying a door jam
or a light that's on the wall.
Right. But a slight imperfection, not only will it adjust to maintain a proper distance from the wall to spray effectively and maintain the integrity of the image, but it also prevents it from banging up against the wall.
Okay, awesome. Love it. Cool, Ryan. That sounds great.
What we've learned over the past 6 to 8 months, we are sharing with anybody that's willing to invest in this business opportunity. We are growing, and we are growing quickly. Territories are not going to be available forever. We encourage you to look into your area. I saw a question of how do we know if a territory is available. You can visit our website. We do have a list of World of Wall Printers, as we call it.
Go to Contact Us. When you go to thewallprinter.com, go to Contact Us, scroll down, you'll see an interactive map. You can actually zoom in on the map and see what territories are currently taken.
So you want to get to a couple questions?
Yeah, let's do some Q&A.
Again, really appreciate everybody joining. Hopefully we can get to what we haven't covered, or maybe expand on a few things while we have you here. And again, you have the handouts. You have my contact information in the welcome email that we sent. Please feel free to send me an email if your question doesn't get answered. So what are we looking at first, Aaron? If I own a territory, I am the sole distributor. That is technically correct. So you are the sole distributor inside your territory definition. Okay. What I did mention that we do offer first right of refusal for expansion. The way that typically works is, or the way that it always works, is that if you own an exclusive territory and someone in an adjacent area comes in and expresses and gives a bona fide offer to purchase the territory next to you, we're going to come back to you first and offer to allow you to expand before we bring in another person.
Prices, correct. Yes, Marcel, they are in US dollars.
Yes, all of our pricing and everything, we take US dollars.
Yep.
And
you
then
can do the currency exchange. We accept the currency exchange, obviously, but ultimately what we're showing you is US dollars.
Our pricing also includes shipping from overseas from our manufacturer. All tariffs and everything are covered. The only thing that it doesn't include, simply because we don't want to put shipping, since we own all of the Western Hemisphere for sales and support, we don't want to put a shipping fee in there because we're not sure where it's going to. And you also have the option of coming to pick your printer up and taking it home with you after your training. And that has been done quite often.
All machines come with a 1-year warranty as well.
So, correct, yes. So we have a one-year manufacturer warranty against defects. We also offer an extended warranty. It's an annual extension. And the really cool thing about that is Paul's built it in to where every other year, if you maintain that extension annually, we throw in a print head as a replacement. We use Epson print heads on all of our models of machines. The Epson print head DX7, which is about $17.50 for a wall printer cost. We get a slight discount for our distributors, but they're rated for 2 years. If you have to replace it sooner than 2 years just because you've been using it too much, that's a good problem to have. What other questions do we have?
What is the cost? What are the cost expenses of maintaining the wall printer?
That's a great question. So we didn't really get into much of the maintenance. I'm not going to dig too deep into the maintenance because there's really not a whole lot to speak on when it comes to maintenance. You have 2 software programs that are built into this printer. You have your operating software and you have what the industry calls a RIP software. RIP is raster image processing, I believe. Basically, that software takes the image that you've uploaded to the computer or the machine, and it translates that image file into a PRN or a printable file. It's what the printer understands to be able to print. The other software is proprietary to our machine. That's the TWP software, and that's what operates the machine. The machine is operated by motors, boards, and the print head mechanism itself. The print head has a 4-step process to maintain. It's a pump, spray, clean, and test. Okay, or test and clean. Excuse me. The clean isn't as necessary unless you let the printer sit for a few weeks, which is not what it's intended for.
Cost. What about cost, though?
Cost is your time. You know, we provide you with what we call a customer care kit, which is dozens of items that help you not only maintain the machine, but things that we found useful over the last 6 to 8 months to practice print and to maintain your print head. You know, we give you the solvents, we give you the wipes for the print head, we give you the drip pan, and we give you the pump box. There's a lot of things that you're just going to have to learn through the training process and some of our videos that we offer to familiarize yourself. It's hard to go into deep detail, but really there's a software program that allows you to prime the print head, and the print head is the most important part of the printer. The maintenance is really all in the print head. The 4-step process takes about 10 minutes, and you want to run that every couple days just to make sure that the ink is primed and running through the print head. Anytime before you go to a job or right before you print a job, you want to make sure. It's almost like a print test that you do on your desktop printer. It gives you the ink blots and the colors and make sure everything's coming out good.
Maintenance is minimal, like Brian mentioned earlier. Really, for cost, to answer your question, it's pretty much just the print head every 2 years if you're using it regularly, which means that your business is doing really well. If you have the extended warranty, that print head already comes with it.
Every other year we'll provide you an additional print head.
On average, how much net profit are the current printer owners making?
Yeah. So that's a good question, and it really depends on what stage of your business you're really in. If you're in the starting phases and you're doing practice printing or you're doing some pro bono work, obviously your margins are going to be tiny. But what we're seeing so far is that the margins are great simply because of the low cost of ink printing as well as the capability of charging to your discretion.
So you can give that example with a a 40 square foot mural.
Yeah, so if you did let's just say you did a 5x8 print and you had, let's say $100, let's be on the high end and say $100 cost for labor, ink, transportation, everything.
Yep.
And you charge $15 a square foot. You're looking at a $600 charge and $100 net profit of $500. Now, of course, over time running a business, you're going to incur other costs. That's just the cost of doing business. But if you just look at the simple, what does it cost to do a print? The margins are phenomenal. And the advertising for this is I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. Stephen can speak to that a little bit.
I handle all the advertising here. Currently, we invest $100, a little more per week in advertising. And that's Facebook advertising. It's directly linked with Instagram. And we get over 100 leads per day. This is innovative technology. When people see this, they're excited. They're stoked.
That's why it's rare to see my face.
They look at this and they're excited. People want to learn more. Like how we have a bunch of you guys in here actually, tuning in and checking out our webinar. It's the same thing for when you guys are going to be selling services. It's innovative and people want to learn more and get some wall printing. So,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I wanted to this one question about getting the
from Gary. So, how do you get the image square and level?
Right. So, really good question, and obviously your ground surface is going to play a big part in getting level. Those leveling tracks that come with the wheel machine have the leveling legs. You want to bring a level with you. The track machines actually have levels built into the tracks. Now, of course, you would need to prop something under the built-in casters that have locks in order to get fully level. Leveling is the easy part on that. When you're talking about getting the image square, I do want to draw your attention to that print head assembly that Aaron's showing us right now. Just above that, there is a red laser crosshair. You might not be able to see it in this image, but we do have a calibration tool for setting up your print and getting it to start where you want it. Also, if you have to stop a print midway, or if you're piecing prints together, let's say you're going around the door, or you want to do one on one side of the door and one on the other, there's a red crosshair that pops up. We teach you how to calibrate it. That's something that you can get it down to the science to where you can literally stop a print, take the printer away, bring it back, and start it at the same spot. Really cool technology.
All right, let's see another question from Alan. Is the wheel model as stable once placed on the optional track?
Yes, it is stable. Okay, but a 175-pound printer versus a 110-pound printer. That is why we cannot offer as tall of an extended rail for the smaller machine. It does give you a larger footprint when you lay down the leveling tracks. It widens the stance of the printer. It does provide plenty of stability for good quality prints. But of course, a machine that's twice as heavy is going to have more stability, and that's why you can have a larger vertical rail on that. Thank you for that question, Al. That's a great question.
All right, let's hear from Joseph. I think he sent a message in the chat. Is it possible to print borderless or a whole wall? I think I'm going to jump on that for borderless.
Take borderless. Yeah, that's great.
Borderless, of course. So I like to refer to that as a transparent image. I personally love printing images borderless. To answer your question, Joseph, yes, we can. Look behind us. All these prints are borderless. Up here in the top, it'd be your top right. You can actually see a bordered one. Compare that to all these other logos. They're all borderless. You just put the image into the machine and it prints what you want. So you would have to put an image that's not square or rectangular into the image or into the machine, and that's gonna print like that. So I
want to touch on, just in case that we're not understanding this question, if he means by borderless, do you mean that you can go from edge to edge? Because that's your second part of your question, whole wall. You can go edge to edge on a wall if you don't have interior walls deterring the machine from making it from side to side. You are limited to the size of the cabinet and the machine itself. The printer wheels, the print head has limitations. It cannot go all the way to the floor or all the way to the ceiling. If there is no ceiling, the print head can travel all the way to the top of the vertical rail. And if you start on an exterior wall or a wall that does not have limits of interior adjoining walls, you can start at the very edge and go to the very edge. Absolutely.
Does the wall need to be primed before printing?
That's a question for you and me, either one. Go ahead.
So earlier, I think it was Brian Wilson. Yep, Brian. earlier I kind of mentioned that. That was when we were talking about printing on a dark surface. For example, first way to answer it, if you have a UV printer, no, it does not need to be primed because you can actually set the printer up to lay down white and then print the white immediately or an inch after print the color directly over the white. So that white acts as priming the wall, and then the color of the wall, whether it's beige or whether it's black, is not impacting the color of the image. Great question.
Another thing I can speak to, and in our experience, this is where our experience is useful. If you have a larger image that does have a defined line and you want to go out early, measure, tape it off, prime it off, you will save a bunch of white ink. So
Sure.
Think about that. It can be useful, and it cost effective as well, I would say. You know, the cost of ink overall is $0.25 per square foot, but when you get into printing large surfaces and laying down white, you're going to blow through white ink. So
the printers do blow through white ink so that you can make sure that you cover and you're not impacting the color of your image. So,
otherwise, the printers are extremely efficient. One supply of UV ink, our inks come in the UV form, come in 1 liter bottles of CMYK, which are your standard colors, and then we do provide you with 2 liters of white ink for each full supply. A full supply of ink is $895, should get you at least 2,000 square feet of printing. Do the math on $15 a square foot, there's $30,000 in revenue versus $895 cost.
Joseph, do you provide on-site repairs? This is the question Joseph just asked.
Great question, Joseph, but when you take over this territory, you become the wall printer expert in that area with our support. We offer virtual and online support. We can log into your machine remotely if you have Wi-Fi access, but if you have an issue on site while you're doing a customer job, we do encourage you to practice beforehand. At this stage of introducing this new technology, we have limited resources, so we do our technical support by email, and then we set up a time for Zoom or whatever, a phone call, whatever it may be. But that follows another question by Gary, which says, if you mess up a print, do you simply print over it, primer over it, and reprint? The cost of ink is low enough. You'd rather have a good finished product in the event that something happens, the dog runs through the living room and hits the machine and you get a big band in your image, then yes, absolutely. I would recommend starting over as opposed to stopping and trying to resume where you left off.
Let's answer Ali's question, for example. So Ali said, if you get a territory for a population of 500,000 inhabitants, that's
all right. So I'd love to
population.
answer this one, and this is probably, we'll take 1 or 2 more, but I'd love to answer this question. Yes, what we do, and the question is, if you get a territory or population of 500,000 as opposed to the 250, which is the $10,000 entry level territory, do you get a discount? Does that mean 10,000 off? Oh, 10,000 off the printer price. That's a good one. No. But what you do is you get a quantity discount on the territory fee. We look at the territory that you're undertaking. We come to a mutual agreement as to how many printers over X amount of years that will grow that market effectively, and we will come up with a fair offer on the territory. We have it set, I believe that's one of the handouts, is the distribution and territory overview. A typical 500,000 territory starts at 17.5. Once you get up to $1 million, it's down to 25,000. So you do get quantity discounts on your territory. We want you to start within reason and your budget, but ambitiousness is a good thing.
Cool. Great question, Ali. So let's see. We have a couple more that are up in the top 100 questions.
That's about it.
Okay, so we'll check chats real quick. So, is the UV white prime visible from the other side? What to do? If you're printing on glass, you would see, for example, if you wanted to lay white so that those colors did, pop a little more.
I wish I could turn the screen to our picture right here. This is our glass door front where we did lay white behind. We did a mirrored image, which is really cool technology. And really, this is all how you set up the image in the computer before you upload it to the printer. But you flip the image or mirror it, and then it lays a white primer background second. So it prints the color and then prints the white over top of it. Could you bring up that one snippet of the the printing here, you have an idea of what it actually looks like. Yes, it does appear more white, but you can see through that a little bit.
And you can do it with white or without white.
So here you go.
So watch this carefully. This is from the outside perspective. Indoors, you can see the white actually laying down over top of the color.
That's a really good example. And there's different ways to manipulate that. You can print it without the white, but then it'll be more transparent, and anything in the background that's dark will, mess with the integrity of the image visually.
And real quick, just as I'm showing a video, I would like to show what Beyonc did. They're actually our distributor down in Naples, Florida. They recently
Maribel and Freddie, how are you?
Maribel and Freddie, hola, ¿cómo estás? Shout out to them. They're our distributors down in Naples, Florida. Check out this print that they did. Pretty incredible.
This is another thing that you can consider with the opportunity here is that we do print vertically, but that doesn't limit you to being able to print vertically and hang or lay something down on the floor.
Yep.
The UV ink is durable, and it does give you that opportunity as well. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful print. So really, it's the limit is what you guys, what
the opportunities and the applications are relatively endless.
Yep.
We encourage you to reach out. Give us feedback on not only the webinar, but anything that you have more questions about. I'm here to answer them. I'll do my best to get if you want to call or set up a Zoom call, that's what we encourage. If you're looking to get further into diving into what it's going to cost you to take over your territory, we'd love to have that conversation. Again, my contact information is located in the description, and all the handouts are available to you.
So before we end this, you guys who made it to the end, do you mind clicking on people, Aaron?
Oh yeah.
So all of you who are currently in here under people, you guys have a special offer.
Yep.
Anyone who attended this webinar has a special offer. Brian,
what's going to cost you though?
Yeah, what do we have to offer our first webinar attendees?
Free shipping.
Free shipping. All right.
We're talking about 175 to a 375 pound freight case. We'll send it to you for free if we get an offer in, or if we at least start talking before the end of the month.
Yep.
And we come to an agreement.
So that's up to
$1,000
savings, correct?
Up to $1,000 savings. Yeah.
So that's exciting. You guys, we have all your names who registered and attended this event. Let us know how we can get you
very
started.
Grateful for you all giving us your time.
Thank you,
shout
guys.
out to Danny and Julie in South America, our South American reps. If you have anybody in those countries that has interest in this, we do have Spanish-speaking representatives as well. We also have a Canadian and French-Canadian speaking representative that helps us as well. We're growing and we want to grow with you. So please, if you're interested, give us a shout.
Yep. Thank you guys again for attending. We will have more to come. And again, if you have any more questions, email brian@thewallprinter.com. And thanks again. We'll see you guys next time.
Great.
Happy wall printing.